Simon Pegg is not happy, everyone. He is not happy with you as a Star Wars fan because apparently you are very, very toxic. So let's go ahead and hear what this Brit has to say when it comes to things that have to do more with American politics than anything else, and let's see what he has to say when it comes to you and how toxic you really are. Simon Pegg says Star Wars fan base seems to be the most kind of toxic at the moment. Claims they're angry about a little bit more diversity. That's all that we're angry about, guys, is a little bit more diversity, even though the fact is that Star Wars has always been very diverse, going back to the original trilogy, but that has nothing to do with it, because that is not what they're actually concerned about. They know that their writing is shit, they know that their storytelling is terrible, and that is the reason why we're so critical about a lot of the things that they're doing with Star Wars. We know that Star Wars can be better, we know that Star Wars deserves better, but they don't want to give us better. They want to continue to give us terrible stories and stories that are continuing to destroy what is Star Wars in the first place. That is what they're all about. And at the same time, they hide it under a thin veil of diversity. And that way, so that when you criticize their terrible storytelling, then they can point at their diversity and be like, oh, well, the reason why you don't like Star Wars now is because you're racist or something along those lines. So let's see what Simon Pegg has to say here. I'm sure that he's going to make some very, very good points here, as we all know. Asked by Roberts who he found to have the hardest fans to please when you're like jumping into the franchises between Doctor Who, Star Trek, and Star Wars, with the host noting, I mean, these are people who take these licenses very, very seriously. The actor asserted, to be honest, and as someone who kind of was, kicked off about the prequels when they came out. I think it meant ticked off. I'm not sure. The Star Wars fan base really seems to be the most kind of toxic at the moment. We are toxic, my friends. We are all toxic because we want better for Star Wars, apparently. So, and Hollywood absolutely hates that. They hate that so much that we continue to criticize what they put out, the garbage that they are putting out. They hate that so much. I'm probably being very controversial to say that, added Pegg. Well, not in your circles. I mean, I'm out of it now. I've apologized for the things I said about, Jar Jar Binks, because of course there was an effing actor involved. He continued, he was getting a lot of flack, and it was a human being. And because it got a lot of hate, he suffered, and I feel terrible about being part of that. So, you can see what he's trying to do here. He's basically saying, oh, because we are criticizing things that Star Wars is putting out now, we are actually being hateful towards the humans that are behind those characters and everything else, which is just ridiculous. But I want to flip this a little bit on Simon Pegg's head here a little bit, because as we all know, he's been very critical and hateful towards individuals who are not politically aligned with his political ideologies and worldviews and everything else. Take, for instance, Trump. So, Trump is a human being. Trump is someone who has gotten a lot of flack. Do you think that he deserves that, Simon Pegg? Or do you think that that is toxic as well? I want to hear what you have to say about that. Simon Pegg. So, let's go ahead and see what else he has to say here. Conversely, the J.J. Abrams cinematic Star Trek trilogy star then told his host that he found Star Trek fans have always been very, very inclusive. Oh, really? Well, maybe you should keep up to date with where things are at with Star Trek right now, because there's a lot of people in the fan base who you wouldn't find very inclusive, and that isn't because they hate diversity. That is because they are not happy with the current direction that Star Trek is continuing to go as well, because Star Trek is making tons of horrible decisions when it comes to the creativity of the story and everything else, because Hollywood is creatively bankrupt. This is something that all of you know as well. So with that being said, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. What do you think about what out of touch Simon Pegg has to say here? Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you all in another video very soon. Bye.